Depending on how you look at it, Violet Jessop may be the luckiest or unluckiest survivor of the Titanic disaster. In this video, I will discuss how this stewardess managed to survive all three incidents regarding the famous Olympic-class sister ships: Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Beginning with the RMS Olympic, the eldest and smallest of the three sisters. The Olympic is making its fifth journey across the Atlantic on September 20th, 1911, when a British warship, the HMS Hawke, accidentally plows right into the starboard rear of the Olympic, causing massive damage above and below the waterline. Two watertight compartments flood, but luckily it wasn't too far away from Southampton and the ship was still serviceable, so it turned around, limped back to Southampton, so to speak, and now the Titanic project gets delayed because men and material are pulled off that project to repair Olympic to get it back into service. Violet Jessop was a stewardess on Olympic at the time. No life-threatening situations, nobody died in this incident, but it is a dramatic incident to say the least. Fast forward to the infamous night of April 14th into the 15th of 1912. Titanic strikes the iceberg and begins to sink. Violet Jessop is told to go up to the boat deck. She was nearly asleep in her bed at the time of collision, 11:40 p.m. And luckily, she is allowed to enter lifeboat 16 on the port side of the ship. So quite lucky, considering about 68% of the people on board of Titanic perished in that disaster. So she's 2 for 2, doing quite well. Fast forward once again to November 21st, 1916. Violet Jessop still working on these ships, now on the Hmhs Britannic. The youngest, largest, and safest of all three of the ships has undergone massive engineering and design changes as a result of the Titanic disaster. Totally unsinkable, nothing can go wrong with this ship. Well, unfortunately, the Britannic strikes a naval mine laid by a German U-boat, and it sinks in less than an hour. While the ship is sinking, a portion of the crew, in a panic and the chaos, decides to abandon ship by launching some lifeboats prematurely before the captain has given any order to. Unfortunately, Violet Jessop is among this group. What they aren't aware of is that on the bridge, Captain Bartlett is looking to his right, and he is seeing the island of Kia, which is only a couple miles away, and he decides, I'm going to try to get Britannic to the shallow water, because Britannic is huge, and just sort of beach the ship in the shallow waters surrounding the island. So the engines are running, which means the enormous 70,000-pound plus propellers are still turning at a rate of over 1 revolution per second. And when you have an object that is bigger than my house spinning at that speed, it's quite destructive. So Britannic is sinking from the front of the ship, so now the back end of the ship is slowly rising out of the water. And Violet Jessop and these men that are in these lifeboats are now in the water. The propellers are now partially out of the water, so now they are sucking in these lifeboats. And unfortunately, these wooden lifeboats are absolutely no match for these enormous propellers. She described the scene in a very, very graphic and vivid quote from her book. Quote, I turned around and to my horror saw Britannic's huge propellers churning and mincing up everything near them. Men, boats, and everything were just one ghastly whirl. The first thing my smarting eyes beheld was a head near me, a head split open, like a sheep's head served by the butcher, the poor brains trickling over onto the khaki shoulders. All around were heartbreaking scenes of agony. Poor limbs wrenched out as if some giant had torn them in his rage. The dead floated by so peacefully now, men coming up only to go down again for the last time, a look of frightful horror on their faces. So basically what happened is, in the seconds before this lifeboat is pulled into these enormous propellers, the people that could and had time jumped overboard, and she basically said that she escaped with her life by grabbing onto a davit cable. She couldn't even swim. Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable story of survival. Ironically, the people that decided to launch the lifeboats prematurely were the only ones that actually died. 30 people in total perished, and once again, Violet Jessop escapes almost certain death. So there you have it, Violet Jessop. Unbelievable story of, I guess, just like I said, good luck, bad luck, depends how you look at it. Just for the sake of completion, Violet Jessop also, as a child, was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and doctors only gave her a few months to live, which is absolutely incredible because even to this day, tuberculosis is one of the most deadly diseases in the world, kills millions of people every single year with modern medicine. And you're talking early 1900s medicine, the mortality rate was much higher at that time. So she survived that as well. And she lived to the age of 83, which obviously is quite good for someone born in the 1800s who endured what she endured. There was another fireman named Arthur John Priest, who also survived all three incidents involving the three ships. Unfortunately, he passed away at a relatively young age of pneumonia, but I guess that could be another video for another day. That's it. Thanks for watching.